How many times have you seen a Valorant tip or trick and thought to yourself, well, that wouldn't actually work against good players? Because me, I see this far too often. And that's why in this video, I'm gonna give you guys 10 tips and tricks that pros actually use to gain an advantage in their games. Hey guys, my name is ZK, and if you guys find this video helpful, make sure you leave a like, turn on post notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos that I post. I also stream high elo, immortal, and radiant ranked games every single weekday over on Twitch, so make sure you guys go drop a follow. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into these tips. Tip number 1 brings us over to Icebox, specifically the Viper wall that's placed on A site when defending. Now you might think, well, what's wrong with this wall? And there's nothing inherently wrong in general, but what if I told you that we can make it better? To do this, you're gonna make your way over to screens in the pre-round and align yourself with the white line in the corridor. From there, you're gonna take out your Viper wall and align the green dot with the center of the bottom line on this rectangle. From there, you'll throw, and you can see how much better this Viper wall is at blocking off any vision from belt. Tip number 2 has to do with Omen and his one-way smokes in particular. Now, if you recall, his one-way smokes recently got nerfed, and a lot of people, including myself, felt that this would nerf Omen into the ground. But what most people don't realize is that a lot of these one-ways can still be placed. You just have to place them on very specific surfaces. Here's what I mean. So if I'm attempting to one-way B main on Ascent, and I put this smoke in the wall like I used to be able to, and I see a red arrow, that smoke is going to fall to the ground and effectively do nothing for me. But if you look at the textures on the wall in B main, there's actually a ledge on this corridor here. So if I look directly on this ledge when I'm placing the smoke, you can see that the arrow for Omen Smoke turns from red to green. This is your sign that the one-way will actually hold its place in the wall. And here are just a few more examples of ways you can use these on Ascent.
Cover going out. Cover going out.
Now, I didn't want this video to be all about lineups, but for the next 2 tips, we're going to focus on exactly that because they're too good not to know. This is a Sovo Recon dart you use when attacking to clear almost all of C site. You'll start by aligning yourself directly under the center of this picture frame. Then you position your crosshair on the lower third of this slab on the wall. From there, you'll use one bounce and full charge and let it rip. For the C retake dart, you're going to position yourself under the center of this nook in the wall. Next, you'll position your crosshair at the intersection of the top of the horizontal beam and in the center of the vertical beam. From there, you do one bounce, full charge, and again, let it rip. This will clear everywhere on site except for backsite and then behind the double stack box. Tip number 4 is centered around KO breaking Killjoy's ultimate with his molly. For the Killjoy ultimate that's placed in A main, you're going to make your way into the corner of this wooden box on A site and place your crosshair directly in the center of this diamond that's found in the pattern on the wall. From here, you'll do a simple jump throw, and that will land exactly in the cubby where you need it to. To break the Killjoy ultimate in B main, you're going to make your way toward lane and look up at this window. From here, you'll inch your player model forward until the black line in the window is barely visible. Another way to break the KJ ult in B main is to simply run and throw your Molotov onto this texture on the wall so that it bounces off and lands in the corner. This lineup is very lenient and doesn't need to be pinpointed at all, and it's something that you should land every single time. Tip number 5 takes us to Valorant's newest map in Lotus and how you can gain map control by faking stars with Astra. After the defending team uses their utility to fight for A main, it is imperative that the attackers fight for this rubble control to help discipline the opponents. And taking back a star is a great way to safely cross into the rubble area. You can also do this while defending on the C site to cross behind the double stack box without the opponents knowing at the pre-round. Here's an in-game example.
I'm playing inside. 1A, or 1 C side.
Oh. One enemy remaining.
Also there. Tip number 6 is a really cheeky Molotov that you can use for your B setup on Fracture. You'll start by putting your turret on top of the box to watch arcade. You'll put your alarm bot for the entrance of B main and one molly right behind it. And for the second molly, you're going to make your way into tower and look at the corner of this fish tank on the wall where the dark green meets the light green, crouch, and right click your molly. You can pop the molly when you hear the opponents on the rope and they'll never see this coming.
Swarm grenade out.
Tip number 7 is Astrotech for retaking B site on Pearl. That makes it virtually unlosable when you have your ultimate ability. To start this retake, you're going to place 2 stars back site. One will be a gravity well and one will be a concuss. From here, you'll create a perfect line with your ultimate from the front of generator to the front left part of site. Here's what the retake looks like in real time.
When we retake B, I'm gonna suck stun here and then wall off long, okay?
They're planning. Waiting for Sky ult.
Suck stunning back all right now. Nice. Play cross, play cross.
I'm sticking.
Yeah, we got you, we got you.
One enemy remaining.
Nice. Indeed. I got.
Where the f? Oh, deep pillar, you're good. Oh, hope so.
Tip number 8 is to emphasize the importance of a Viper smoke in mid on Icebox. So many people come into my chat and they say, ZK, why don't you just throw a lineup that lands on Boiler instead? And the reason the smoke in mid is so much better than a smoke that lands on the top of Boiler is because it blocks off multiple choke points at once. When you throw a smoke that lands on top of Boiler, people that are playing anywhere under tube or on top of B site can still see you if you're crossing that choke point. But if you throw the smoke that lands in the center of mid, that not only blocks off all vision from Boiler, but it blocks off all vision from under tube and B site as well. And that creates so much more lurk potential for you as an attacker as you're consistently disciplining the opponents. Tip number 9 is a Molly lineup for the most commonly played controller on Fracture. 3/4 of the time, people are planting inside of the cubby, which is a really difficult spot to have a lineup for, but don't worry, I got you guys. Once the spike is down, you're gonna make your way into B main and into the corner of these 2 boxes. You'll jump up onto the edge of the box and move your crosshair to the peak that's on this mossy wall. From here, you'll move your crosshair a millimeter or 2 toward the right and launch the Molotov. Really simple, but really effective for this super common plant spot on Fracture. The 10th and final tip is the very best one for those of you that made it to the end of the video. And this tip is to not just use your utility, but to combine it with the utility of your teammates. And here's what I mean. Shooting something like a Sovo dart or using a fade eye in a very common spot usually gets broken before it ever even gets a scan off in the first place. But if you combine this Sovo dart with something like a flash or an Omen blind, then it's gonna make that dart so much harder to hit, leaving a much higher chance to actually get the scans off on the opponent. And this is gonna lead to much easier retakes, just like this example here.
I have eye and dog whenever we're ready to go.
I have flash too.
Yeah, flash default for us. I eye right now.
Ready?
Yeah, eyeing.
Already flashing.
There you go. 2 default, 2 default. Nice.
Long. Right on long. Long.
No way.
Chill.
1 HP, nice. Good job.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. There are so many gimmicky tips and tricks that you can find within the Valorant scene that don't actually work on good players. So hopefully you guys found these helpful, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you did. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
I thought I told you that I've seen it plenty. You always faded off the weed or any. You keep on trying, but you can't.